Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 95 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The King. The King is in Yulan City. Every low-level primordial life form lurking within Yulan City felt a surge of fervor in their hearts. The low-level primordial lives were notoriously unruly. Even when ordered by their leaders, only the scarce core members would somewhat obey, while the vast majority of middle and lower-tier clans wouldn't care much. They might go centuries without ever meeting their leaders and could perish at the hands of cultivators at any time. Naturally, they became even more indulgent and unrestrained. Indulgence, recklessness, and unruliness. These traits had already become traditions among the low-level primordial lives. The Enchanting Heartworm clan, the Soul-Devouring Snake clan, and the Void Wanderer clan were the three major species of lurkers. Once a king emerged among these three species, they would possess an inconceivable power to command, even making the kings of other species willing to heed their orders. This was because only the king of the lurker species could easily infiltrate cities and assassinate the topmost core members within, significantly reducing the difficulty of breaching the city's defenses. In the history of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, most city breaches, 8 out of 10 cases, were due to the emergence of a king among the three lurker species. Once a lurker king was discovered, the cultivators of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm would immediately call for reinforcements. The Dark Sacred Realm would send terrifying cultivators to hunt down the lurker king. Hence, the birth of a lurker king was kept in absolute secrecy. A king only had one chance in their life to breach a city. Once they failed, under relentless pursuit from the cross-realm forces of the Dark Sacred Realm, survival was impossible. This is my only chance to regain freedom. The red-robed cultivator rose to their feet, their gaze icy. To them, the entire Nine Rivers Sacred Realm was a vast cage. After enduring countless hardships, they finally attained super-limit level, granting them an opportunity for freedom. If they could breach the city, out of hundreds of millions of cultivators, they only needed to massacre a fraction to accumulate enough merit points. Act now. The red-robed cultivator issued the order. At that moment, all the leaders hiding across Yulan City sprang into action, while the other clans continued to lie dormant. Whoosh! The red-robed cultivator emerged from their cave mansion, gliding through a faint mist as they flew toward Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion. At the same time, another 32 leaders began to head toward Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion as well. Under the call of the king, 32 leaders from the Enchanting Heartworm clan and the Soul-Devouring Snake clan, each with the strength of Divine Emperor Perfection, gathered here. First, several regions across the 35 city zones of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm had branches where Divine Emperor Perfection level individuals hadn't yet emerged. The strongest members in those branches were some late-stage Divine Emperor clan members, making leader-level members even rarer. Second, only about half of the leaders were participating in this battle, the rest abstained, so the current participants only represented about half of the elite forces of the two major clans. Rumble .. The gates of Yulan City slammed shut with a deafening roar. With the gates closed, no cultivator could enter or leave the city temporarily. All cultivators, return to your respective cave mansions immediately, or you may temporarily stay in nearby merchant establishments, Yuan Xiong Palace Master's gentle voice echoed throughout the city. In a moment, all cultivators are forbidden to step outside. Anyone fleeing will be treated as a low-level primordial life form in disguise. This inspection will be completed within a day, and all cultivators must cooperate during the process. The message resounded. The scattered cultivators across various locations began swiftly heading back to their cave mansions if they were nearby. Those farther away opted to temporarily stay in merchant establishments instead. As time passed, a massive flow of cultivators spread across Yulan City, with their numbers outside gradually decreasing. The red-robed cultivator, now close to Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion, noticed that many of the other 32 leaders were still far off, arriving at varied speeds and distances. Deploy the first branch to attack the entire city and draw the cultivator's attention, the red-robed cultivator immediately commanded. Yes. The leader of the first branch responded and promptly initiated the assigned orders. Suddenly, in various sectors of Yulan city, over 200 cultivators emerged from their cave mansions simultaneously. These were all avatars of enchanting heartworms or soul-devouring snakes. The attack plan had always designated these avatars for sacrificial missions. However, these avatars possessed remarkable strength. Some were avatars of core clan members. For cultivators below the Divine Emperor level, it was a swift massacre at the hands of enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes, with casualties piling up at shocking speed. Ha ha ha, it's been ages since I killed cultivators so wantonly. In just a blink of an eye, I've already slain over 10. With the merit points from this massacre, my bloodline will surely evolve to unprecedented heights. These 200 lurkers raged unchecked, no longer worrying about secrecy. The more reckless, the better. They couldn't resist during the city-wide investigation. Lurkers already revealing themselves. Wipe them out. The elders in charge of Yulan city's numerous defensive formations showed no leniency, decisively deploying the arrays to strike down the rampaging lurkers. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. Thunder and lightning rained down like an unrelenting storm. Within the blink of an eye, every lurker wreaking havoc across the city was struck, with no room to dodge. Most of them were annihilated instantly, reduced to ashes. Only 3 lurkers managed to withstand the lightning strikes. These 3 must either be late-stage Divine Emperor true bodies or leader-level avatars. One elder responsible for the Thunder Array communicated this insight to the other elders. Late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial lives had exceptionally tenacious life forces. Even the strikes of a formation controlled by an elder couldn't annihilate them from afar. They are likely just leader-level avatars. These lurkers are cunning. They almost never send their true bodies into cities, only avatars. Boom! Whoosh! Roar! Within mere breaths, the 3 lurkers who had resisted the thunder strikes were subjected to successive attacks from multiple formations. Flames engulfed their bodies. Invisible winds howled across them. Freezing air descended upon them like death. Layer upon layer of formation attacks, each one personally directed by the elders. Ultimately, all 3 lurkers met their demise. Meanwhile, not far from Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion, the red-robed cultivator had already rendezvoused with 7 other leaders. Deploy the second branch to attack the city and hinder them further, the red-robed cultivator commanded once again. Yes. With a new order issued. Another 192 lurkers charged out of their cave mansions. By this point, very few cultivators remained outside. These unleashed lurkers attacked every visible cultivator within sight, even storming merchant establishments to target attendants inside. More lurkers. What's going on? How are there still so many surfacing? The numerous elders controlling the formations were taken aback. While the emergence of the first batch of over 200 cultivators had been anticipated, the sudden appearance of a second wave totaling 192 seemed increasingly suspicious. Slaughter them first. Exterminate. The elders executed the arrays, striking from afar. The 192 lurkers attacked with reckless abandon, knowing that even if their avatars perished, as long as they killed enough, they'd still garner sufficient merit points. In just 3 breaths of time, all 192 lurkers were vanquished. Of course, they also managed to kill hundreds of innocent cultivators along the way. Something isn't right. Yuan Xiong Palace Master had also noticed the anomaly. 2 consecutive waves of carnage led Yuan Xiong Palace Master to feel uneasy. All cultivators who have yet to return to their cave mansions must immediately enter the nearest merchant establishment. 10 breaths of time are all that remain before inspections commence, Yuan Xiong Palace Master's voice resonated. Hurry, hurry. 10 breaths is too short. The vast majority of cultivators in Yulan City were below Divine Emperor level, their speed constrained by the rules of the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. Forced to act swiftly, many rushed toward the nearest merchant establishments rather than their cave mansions. The red-robed cultivator near Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion was gradually joined by 12 leaders. Only 10 breaths of time? This operation feels too rushed. The red-robed cultivator frowned slightly. According to the original plan, at least 20 leader true bodies were to act simultaneously, ensuring absolute dominance to eliminate Wei Yang Palace Master. Then they could proceed to defeat others one by one, effortlessly breaching the city. But now? The gathered external forces only amounted to 30% of their intended strength. Their movements inside the city, hampered by Yulan City's full defensive lockdown, were also severely restricted. Even if rushed, we have no choice. The red-robed cultivator's eye swept toward the nearby leaders. The 12 leaders around them also fully understood the urgency of the situation. Enter the cave mansion, the red-robed cultivator transmitted the order. The 13 moved in unison. Boom! A terrifying burst ripped apart the front gates of Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion. Inside the cave mansion, Wei Yan Palace Master sat meditating expressionlessly, controlling the formations enveloping the entire city and coordinating with other elders to combat the lurkers. Wei Yan Palace Master instantly stood, looking toward the disturbance. 12 ominous presences descended upon them. Each presence filled Wei Yan Palace Master with dread. 12 leaders, and all true bodies. Wei Yan Palace Master could not believe their eyes. The leaders of the enchanting heartworm and soul-devouring snake clans were notoriously difficult to deal with, targeting their enemies' very souls. Outside the city, Wei Yan Palace Master had confidence in defeating a leader in a one-on-one combat. But against 3 at once? Confidence dwindled considerably. Now, inside the city, I have the aid of the city-wide formations. Even if all 12 true body leaders attack simultaneously, there's still a trace of survival. Wei Yan Palace Master's heart wavered with unease. But why would they risk sending all their true bodies this time instead of relying on avatars? Something wasn't adding up. Wei Yan Palace Master quickly sought aid from Yuan Xiong Palace Master, Master Gai Dao, and other elders. Wei Yan Palace Master, meet your end. As the chaotic waves closed in, one presence near Wei Yan Palace Master exploded with unparalleled ferocity. A red-robed cultivator materialized as if emerging from the void, invading Wei Yan Palace Master's very soul. Twisting grotesquely, the red-robed figure transformed into a gigantic worm that devoured Wei Yan Palace Master's spiritual power in a single gulp. Super limit level. Wei Yan Palace Master was both shocked and enraged. Never had they heard of a super limit level entity arising among the enchanting heartworm and soul-devouring snake clans within the Nine Rivers sacred realm. Because if such an existence were revealed, the realm would have immediately summoned reinforcements from the dark sacred realm. Kill. There's no turning back for us. This is our one and only chance at freedom. Boom 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 boom. All 12 true body leaders, driven to madness, plunged into Wei Yan Palace Master's body, joining their king in the ferocious assault. A super limit heartworm and 12 leader level true bodies. Help me! Help me! At this moment, the Wei Yan Palace Master barely managed to struggle as he sent out a distress signal. In the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm's Yulan City, he had multiple avatars. Spiritual attacks simultaneously affected all avatars. The avatars in other worlds experienced reduced effects. Particularly within the Source World, under the suppression of the Source World's supreme rules, even cross-boundary spiritual attacks were forcibly weakened to the power limit. However, all avatars in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm were subjected to almost identical levels of lethal spiritual assault. The Wei Yan Palace Master held Yulan City in high regard. He carried 2 powerful secret treasures suited to himself, both at a level equivalent to the Undying Heart and the Palm World, capable of protecting his soul. But a single, super-limit heartworm and 12 leaders, all of them specialized in spiritual assaults and using their true bodies, launched an all-out frenzied attack. Even with the treasures reducing the force by 70 to 80%, the remaining pressure of 2 to 3/10 was still enough to make the Wei Yan Palace Master feel despair. Wei Yan Palace Master, hold on! The Yuan Xiong Palace Master, though harboring some dissatisfaction toward the Wei Yan Palace Master, immediately activated the formation to strike back at the 13 physical bodies. Wei Yan Palace Master, I'll help you. Master Gai Dao also acted urgently, casting a 3-colored radiance around the Wei Yan Palace Master. Wei Yan Palace Master. The Shadow Tower Master, Master of Deceit Workshop, and others all activated Yulan City's formation in an attempt to rescue him. The various elders all sought ways to aid the Wei Yan Palace Master. At this moment, all prior grievances were set aside, everyone shared a single goal, to save the Wei Yan Palace Master. The importance of the Wei Yan Palace Master to Yulan City's entire defensive system was even greater than that of the Yuan Xiong Palace Master. Though the Yuan Xiong Palace Master had a higher level of cultivation, over 99% of his heart force was devoted to resisting corruption, rendering his contributions constrained. His significance lay instead in his friendships and influence, which served to deter enemies throughout the city. No. Only 3 breaths after the Wei Yan Palace Master's cry for help, all 5 of his avatars within the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm perished amid an unwilling roar of fury. Low-level primordial life forms specializing in spiritual assaults were simply too terrifying. 1 super-limit heartworm and 12 leader-level beings, all true bodies. At this moment in Yulan City, no one felt confident about surviving their all-out siege. Even Luo Feng could probably only hold out for a bit longer. After all, compared to the Wei Yan Palace Master, Luo Feng currently had an advantage only in Wu's secret techniques. Moreover, Luo Feng at this moment could not yet harness Yulan City's formation for self-protection. Phew. The Wei Yan Palace Master suddenly opened his eyes, their gaze icy. At this moment, the king had taken possession of his body. In reality, the physical bodies of the heartworm and soul-devouring snake cultivators they controlled had only served as vessels. Their true forms were the ethereal heartworms and soul-devouring snakes themselves. King. The 12 other leader-level phantasmal figures spiraling around him grew ecstatic. The Wei Yan Palace Master is dead. We can proceed to the next step. The Wei Yan Palace Master revealed a smile. Ha 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 ha. Go. Under the king's command, the 12 leaders instantly burst out of the cave mansion. Since their presence was now exposed, the leaders dismissed the need to continue possessing cultivators. All of the Wei Yan Palace Master's avatars across the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm have perished. In Yulan City, many elders familiar with the Wei Yan Palace Master could sense through causality that no avatars of his survived anywhere in the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. This is trouble. Master Gai Dao's face grew grim. It's over. The Shadow Tower Master felt an ominous foreboding. A king has emerged from the lurker species. If it strikes, it will bring about a true decisive battle. The emergence of a king from any of the 3 lurker major species was always a nightmare for the cultivator camp. This nightmare decisively began as their strongest asset, the Wei Yan Palace Master, had already fallen. Luo Feng, with one of his avatars stationed at Yulan City's outer limits, had originally planned to gradually shut down the cave mansion's formations and conduct a detailed investigation. However, before the formations were even significantly deactivated, the Wei Yan Palace Master had already been struck down. Brother Luo Feng, the Wei Yan Palace Master has been killed by a super-limit heartworm and 12 leaders, each one a true body. The Changqing building owner, an elder, received the news immediately and relayed it to Luo Feng, who was in the Dan Tower. A super-limit heartworm. Luo Feng's expression changed. This is bad. He had foreseen that large-scale investigations might force the hidden low-level primordial life forms into desperate counterattacks. But he hadn't expected to flush out a super-limit lurker so soon. Throughout the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm's history, the fall of cities had been predominantly caused by the emergence of super-limit lurkers. Yulan City has reached the brink of life and death. Luo Feng immediately realized this. My large-scale investigation unintentionally provoked them into acting prematurely. Without his investigation, the war's eruption might have been delayed further, giving them more time to prepare and strike when fully ready. Brother Luo Feng, the Wei Yan Palace Master is dead. The Changqing building owner quickly informed him again. Luo Feng had already sensed it. He had met the Wei Yan Palace Master, establishing some level of causality. Through this connection, he could discern that no avatars of the Wei Yan Palace Master were left in the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. So quickly? That super-limit lurker will undoubtedly target the other palace masters next. Luo Feng recognized the severity of the situation. What's that? Luo Feng turned to look into the distance, beyond Yulan City. What are those? On Yulan City's walls, the guards remained at their posts but suddenly froze in astonishment, staring at the horizon. In the distance appeared a multitude of low-level primordial life forms, their forms grotesque and varied. Their sizes ranged from vast to minute, their auras either enigmatic and sinister, blazing hot, icy cold, or illusory and unfathomable. Nether Ruins Wind Beast, Blood Demon Elisai, Demon Fire Bird, Frost Soul Watcher, Chu Guang Demon Lord, Primordial Wild Hoof, Frost Nightmare Messenger, Illusionary Pupil River, Void Weaver. The guards felt their hearts tremble as they observed the countless low-level primordial life forms of various species swarming forward. So many. And their auras are so terrifying, many are late-stage Divine Emperor, even leaders. Even Luo Feng, observing from afar, felt a chill. His brows furrowed as the biomimetic destruction eye between his brows scanned for more information. With just one glance, he took in the entire situation around Yulan City. At this moment, a vast army of low-level primordial life forms had entirely encircled Yulan City. This is a terrifying low-level primordial life army. Just the Divine Emperor perfection-level entities, it's well over 2,000. Luo Feng was shaken. So many leader-level low-level primordial life forms couldn't possibly originate solely from around Yulan City. The Changqing building owner communicated. It must be that leaders from numerous regions across the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm have arrived. And there's a super limit among them. Luo Feng saw it too. Outside the eastern, western, and southern walls of Yulan City, enormous and hidden forces loomed beyond the low-level primordial life army. Thanks to the biomimetic destruction eye, Luo Feng could faintly discern these immense powers, each surpassing his current abilities. Even with the undying heart and palm world, Luo Feng could only hope to survive. There wasn't even a guarantee of an equal fight. Why are there so many primordial life forms? So many leaders, and tens of thousands of late-stage Divine Emperors. The elders in charge of Yulan City's defenses also observed the enemy forces. Facing such overwhelming odds, their hearts trembled. The entire elder-level combat forces within the city numbered only a little over 700. The disparity was staggering. Their only hope lay in using Yulan City as a stronghold. Yulan City, forged with the Yuan Xiong Palace Master's merit points, was a fortress crafted by transcendent beings who had escaped the braided cage. Sheltering inside the city was akin to hiding in an impregnable fortress, capable of withstanding an enemy force 100 times superior. But the strongest fortress often fell due to internal betrayal. Now, with the Wei Yan Palace Master slain, the sense of impending disaster was palpable. Attack! From all four sides of Yulan City, the immense low-level primordial life army surged forward under the command of the kings outside. Their attacks were coordinated, their same species techniques amplifying each other, as overwhelming assaults rained down upon Yulan City. Hold the line. Hold them off. The formations of Yulan City, which had previously been used to hunt down infiltrators within the city, were now fully deployed to defend against the external onslaught. Within an area of billions of kilometers around Yulan City, the forces of heaven and earth roared like tidal waves. A kaleidoscope of dazzling and varied powers was mobilized. The low-level primordial life army held absolute numerical superiority, crushing Yulan City beneath their relentless offensive. Yet Yulan City, with its intricately interlocked hundreds of defensive systems, operated in perfect synchrony, standing like an unyielding bastion against all assaults. Inside, there's a super-limit infiltrator. Outside, there's a unified low-level primordial life army from across multiple regions of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. Internal-external collusion, and now with the Wei Yan Palace Master dead, the likelihood of Yulan City's fall exceeds 50%. If Yulan City falls, nearly every cultivator within will die. The elders, though discouraged, managed to stay calm, each having avatars to preserve their existence. But the mid to lower tier cultivators within the city were panicking. Without avatars, death for them would be final. I refuse to accept this. I endured endless hardships, being the sole one from my homeworld to escape suffering and attain transcendence, only to die here. Will hold. The Yuan Xiong Palace Master will save Yulan City again. Every cultivator who reached the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, even the most ordinary among them, was a legend in their own world. Yet now the majority of them could only watch events unfold powerlessly. The elders received immense privileges precisely because they bore the responsibility of protecting the city. They had avatars, were unafraid of death, and could confront the low-level primordial life forms with calm determination. The Wei Yang Palace Master is dead, and the Yuan Xiong Palace Master is seriously injured. If this continues, Yulan City will almost certainly fall. Luo Feng comprehended this dire reality. With his current strength, there was no way to shift the tide. Inside the Dan Tower, Luo Feng maintained one of his long-term stationed avatars there. Building owner. Luo Feng immediately approached the Changqing building owner. Brother Luo Feng. Seeing Luo Feng, the Changqing building owner sighed. This time, the low-level primordial life species planned their attack thoroughly. Fortunately, your large-scale search across the city forced them into an early confrontation, giving us a sliver of hope. But with the Yuan Xiong Palace Master in this frail state, even that slim chance appears out of reach. The Yuan Xiong Palace Master's debilitating weakness must have been one of the reasons the super limit targeted Yulan City, Luo Feng acknowledged. Even predators pick the weakest prey. Building owner, the Dan Tower's treasure, the prized 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, valued at 10 billion primordial crystals, I need it now. Luo Feng declared. The 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, the Dan Tower's signature treasure, had long been put on display to attract attention. Its exaggerated cost of 10 billion had discouraged buyers, leaving it unsold. Luo Feng could never have afforded to use such extravagant treasures in his earlier cultivation efforts. According to his original plans, Luo Feng would gradually comprehend the primordial bloodline, accumulate insights, and finally achieve a natural breakthrough in the life and death Tao. Luo Feng, deeply grounded in his cultivation, could easily achieve a breakthrough in one epoch of focused effort. But the dire crisis demanded immediate progress. He had no choice but to rely on treasures. 10 billion primordial crystals, at 60%, that's 6 billion. I'll pay you now, Luo Feng asserted. As a vice-building owner, he was entitled to make purchases at 60%. No need, the Changqing building owner shook his head. It's uncertain if Yulan City can even hold. If the city falls, the Dan Tower's treasures will be lost as well. The primordial crystals would mean nothing. If we survive, you can settle the payment later. With a faint smile, the Changqing building owner produced the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence. Encased in transparent crystal jade, the item glimmered with a violet gold liquid imbued with a warm radiance. All right. Luo Feng wasted no time. Taking the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence in hand, he vanished, reaching his secluded chamber in the Dan Tower in an instant to begin consuming the treasure. One of the buildings in the Dan Tower complex was exclusively Luo Feng's. Hua. When Luo Feng entered the quiet room, his body naturally split, creating the strongest avatar to remain outside the quiet room and protect it. The so-called strongest avatar carried the two great secret treasures, the Undying Heart and the Palm World. Through long years of cultivation, Luo Feng's energy reserves deepened, and he had sufficient energy reserves in both the cave mansion and the Dan Tower. While consuming the treasure, no disturbance is allowed. Inside the quiet room, Luo Feng sat cross-legged, and with a flip of his hand, took out a portion of the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence. 100 Tribulations Heart Essence, I've never consumed such a treasure. Luo Feng was well aware of the wonders of this treasure. According to information, once the 100 Tribulations Heart Essence is consumed, one's soul seems to undergo numerous trials of life and death, extremely painful. The reason for such pain is that the speed of soul thinking and comprehension is forcibly raised to an extremely high level, causing the soul burden to become painful. Come on. I hope my life and death Tao can quickly reach the late-stage Divine Emperor, the faster the better. Luo Feng opened the crystal jade, lightly inhaling, and the purple gold liquid preserved inside flew directly into Luo Feng's mouth. Upon entry, it was slightly cool. The taste of the 100 Tribulations heart essence could be described as supremely delicious, and Luo Feng's soul trembled, desperately desiring to absorb it. Once the 100 Tribulations heart essence entered the body, it was quickly absorbed by the soul. Boom! After absorption, Luo Feng quickly felt pain. Buzz! The speed of thought operation surged. At this moment, each instant of thought could reach a full 3,000 times the usual amount of information. Comprehension also reached an extremely high level. Yet, such a high load made the soul feel like undergoing trials one after another, thus it is called 100 Tribulations. According to my original plan, slowly comprehending and accumulating enough deep knowledge for a natural breakthrough is the best option. Luo Feng thought, but in that case, I would have to watch countless cultivators die. Luo Feng couldn't do it. Just to pursue the best effect in cultivation, coldly watch countless cultivators die? If I were a demon, I could calmly watch it all, even smile while watching other cultivators die. But Luo Feng walked his path of cultivation, preferring to have imperfections in cultivation than to violate his own heart. Although I've consumed the treasure, hoping for a quick breakthrough. However, the war has erupted. At the speed of combat between cultivators and low-level primordial life, the war might conclude within a day. Can I break through within a day? Luo Feng had no certainty. No matter how strong the auxiliary treasure, it would not dare to claim an assured breakthrough within a day. I will do my utmost, the rest I leave to fate. Luo Feng closed his eyes, focusing all his efforts on comprehending the life and death Tao. Far away in the land of origin, the Avatar also used the Eye of Life and Death, observing the primordial bloodline, fully contemplating how to perfect the life and death Tao to the late-stage Divine Emperor. As Luo Feng urgently secluded himself, the Hall Master and Elders of Yulan City were doing their utmost to control the formations, coordinating hundreds of formations to resist the assault outside the city. This time, we investigated the entire city's lurkers, forcing the low-level primordial lives to launch an attack prematurely. Their army outside is not too numerous and far from reaching Yulan City's limit of endurance. Yuan Xiong Palace Master sent a voice transmission to various elders. The elders were also very aware. To force an attack from the outside and break into Yulan City? The required power was too immense. The greatest threat to us is this group of lurkers. Yuan Xiong Palace Master sent a voice transmission, Master Gai Dao, lead 92 elders of the star array to chase and kill this group of lurkers. The rest of us are responsible for blocking the assault outside the city. Okay. Master Gai Dao immediately responded. We will cooperate with Master Gai Dao. Master Gai Dao and 92 elders no longer paid attention to the outside at this moment. As they coordinated, brilliant stars appeared in the formation above Yulan City. Each star's power was quite terrifying. The stars converged right above the leaders and their group. Whoosh! 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 Super limit level enchanting heartworm and a group of leaders, after leaving Wei Yan Palace Master's cave mansion, headed straight for Master Gai Dao's cave mansion. Because Yuan Xiong Palace Master's soul was polluted, posing very low threat. As long as they successively kill Wei Yan Palace Master, Master Gai Dao, they will have won more than half of this war. Kill! Master Gai Dao's eyes were cold. Although his formation skills were slightly inferior to Wei Yan Palace Master, as an artifact refining Grandmaster, his formation skills were also considered extremely high. Under his leadership, 92 elders coordinated perfectly. Brilliant stars descended from high above, like meteors. Shoo! 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 The stars were incredibly precise, each one drawing an arc and accurately targeting the group of leader-level lurkers. These stars avoided the king, directly targeting the various leaders. The king and the 23 leaders behind him sensed the terrifying stars were already upon them. Block it! The king even took the initiative, using his palms to block 6 stars in succession. The body it possessed was that of the Wei Yan Palace Master, and his body was sturdy and strong, able to withstand the impact of 6 stars with only minor injuries, which were rapidly healing. Stop them. There are too many. The other 23 leaders, although trying to block, quickly collapsed under the dense bombardment of hundreds of stars and could only withstand it physically. This star array inherently possessed the effect of damaging spiritual beings. No. Under the dense barrage of stars, the king and the leaders were all injured, and even one leader's true body was forcibly crushed, killed on the spot. A leader has died. This shocked the other leaders. The threat from outside was too low, allowing the elders of Yulan city to organize an array against us. The king also understood this point, with more than 300 elders, and only Master Gai Dao as an intact Hall Master. This star array had mobilized a Hall Master and 92 elders, causing Yulan city's external defense capacity to decrease by at least half. With the defense capability halved, how can it withstand the wild assault from the outside? If according to the plan, the outside army reached its most perfect state, in a crazy siege, the elders could only sparingly use formations to kill lurkers. The lurkers would find it much easier to operate. All city lurkers, take action. The king sent a remote order, a voice resounding in the heart of every lurking low-level primordial life in the city. According to the plan, assassinate the elders separately. Yes. Yes. All over the city, they responded to the command. Immediately, the enchanting Heartworm clan, soul-devouring Snake clan set out, roughly half of the core members of the 35 branches of the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. They all moved out at this moment. Clan members in the late-stage Divine Emperor were as many as 355. Counting the true bodies and avatars, there were thousands of cultivators possessed by these core members. As for the avatars of the leaders, there were also hundreds. The middle and lower level members didn't know the action plan, and instead, their true bodies didn't enter the city, only avatars did. Naturally, these middle and lower level members were more fearless. Kill. Kill. All over the city, squads of lurkers erupted. At a glance, there were tens of thousands of cultivators. This made the elders responsible for managing the defense system of Yulan city appear solemn. Our task is to kill Elder Qiao Ge. 10 leader avatars, 8 true bodies in the late-stage Divine Emperor, and hundreds of avatars formed a force, charging straight towards Elder Qiao Ge's cave mansion nearby. They were lurking here precisely because they were close to Elder Qiao Ge. Our task is to kill Elder Tian He. Another squad of lurkers, similarly led by 10 leader avatars. These lurking squads were divided into 2 types. One type was led by 10 leader avatars, seeking to kill a certain elder. The other was deliberately deceiving outsiders, being squads of middle and lower level lineage. From the surface, it was difficult for the elders to distinguish which team was strong and which was weak. After all, these members were all possessing cultivator bodies. Master Gai Dao immediately used the star array to simultaneously attack each lurking squad. Yuan Xiong Palace Master immediately ordered. Yes. Master Gai Dao and the elders responded. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. In the sky above Yulan city, densely packed stars gathered, numbering in the tens of thousands, and with the increase in number, their power also sharply decreased. Kill. Master Gai Dao and the 92 elders were filled with killing intent. Whizzing, like a meteor shower, tens of thousands of stars fell, attacking each squad separately. The teams deceiving outsiders, composed of mid and lower level lineage, suffered heavy casualties under the star assault, with most killed in just one wave of attack. Yet the elite squads led by many leader avatars were able to withstand the star assaults. Kill. Master Gai Dao, expressionless, coordinated the star array and launched a second wave of assault. Under this second wave of assault, those mid and lower level lineage squads were completely finished. Only 39 elite squads remained unscathed. Everyone, the rest is up to you. Master Gai Dao suddenly reached out to the elders. I, Gai Dao, have been refining artifacts in Yulan city till today, and today I will leave as well. What? Gai Dao. The elders, who were doing their utmost to respond, were a bit shocked. How can you do this? Brother Gai Dao. You are also a Source World powerhouse, and only an avatar is here. At worst, fight to the death. How can you, as a whole master, escape at the critical moment? Gai Dao. Elders were anxious. Master Gai Dao was too important. In external combat, a whole master was worth 2 or 3 dozen elders. But in the key moments of formation, Master Gai Dao's role was even greater. With his withdrawal, Yulan City's defense capability and ability to respond decreased substantially. See clearly. A super limit level lurker leads over 20 leader level true bodies, heading straight for my cave mansion. They are almost here. I, Gai Dao, have been refining artifacts in Yulan City wholeheartedly, having never sought any resources or interested benefits. Since I didn't take these benefits, I naturally don't have to risk my life for Yulan City. I refine artifacts here, creating numerous weapon secret treasures which must not be damaged. Everyone, in the years in Yulan City, I owe nothing. Swoosh! When the king led the 20 leaders and were only 10 breaths away from Master Gai Dao's cave mansion, Master Gai Dao left with his painstakingly refined weapon secret treasures, riding a ship, instantly soaring into the sky. As a whole master, the high-altitude formation did not intercept him. The ship he was riding on instantly surged out of Yulan City. Shoo! At the moment of exiting the city, the ship disappeared in an instant, reappearing billions of kilometers away. Evidently, Master Gai Dao used an escape treasure regardless of the cost. Participating in space travel in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm was virtually impossible. But as an artifact refining Grandmaster, Gai Dao purchased escape treasures long ago in the Dark Sacred Realm. Within the primordial life army outside the city, a blue and white figure looked distantly in the direction of Master Gai Dao's escape. Ying, do I need to pursue and kill Master Gai Dao? The blue-white figure remotely communicated. No need to mind him, his escape makes our next steps much easier. The Wei Yan Palace Master, Semblance King looked up and smiled. Master Gai Dao also had several avatars in the entire city, making it difficult for the lurkers to hunt him down, whether he fled or resisted. However, Master Gai Dao's cave mansion was also a critical refining site. Master Gai Dao, leading a group of elders, had long been refining many weapon secret treasures there. Gai Dao's character, the avatars might not matter, but he wouldn't part with weapon secret treasures. As I anticipated, under a slight pressure, he voluntarily fled. The king smiled gently. Next, let's find Yuan Xiong Palace Master. At this moment, the Yuan Xiong Palace Master and more than 300 elders in Yulan City were disheartened. Master Gai Dao's desertion was greatly consequential. 2 Hall Masters, 1 dead and 1 escaped. Only Yuan Xiong Palace Master remained. Has it come to this? Yuan Xiong Palace Master felt helpless, clearly aware of his situation, with his heart force primarily resisting pollution, barely able to manipulate formations. But to fight against super limit level low-level primordial life? It was utterly impossible. As the Yuan Xiong Palace Master, being who has mastered 2 half-primordial level paths, he has endured relentless corruption and torment but remained unyielding. Naturally, he would not give up easily. Elders, we all know that the situation has grown dire. Yuan Xiong Palace Master sent a transmission. Now, outside Yulan City, a massive low-level primordial life army has us surrounded. In this siege, escaping is something only a handful in the city can accomplish. I, for one, cannot manage such a feat. The more than 300 elders understood this as well. Even if they tried to flee, they wouldn't succeed. Master Gai Dao, who has spent years refining weapon secret treasures, believes the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm is far safer than the Dark Sacred Realm. This is his artifact refining stronghold, and many of his accumulated weapon secret treasures represent the bulk of his wealth. He cannot afford to lose them. That's why he spared no expense purchasing escape treasures. Other elders, in terms of wealth, are no match for Master Gai Dao. The life-preserving items they possess provide no guarantee of their survival either. If escape is impossible, then we defend to the end. I have already requested reinforcements from the Dark Sacred Realm. There is a super limit level enchanting heartworm involved this time, and the Dark Sacred Realm has dispatched a cultivator squad. They will arrive at Yulan City in just over a day. As long as we hold out for more than a day, We can secure victory. Yuan Xiong Palace Master spoke candidly. The cultivator squad consists of 3 members, each no weaker than Yuan Xiong Palace Master at his pinnacle. They first need to reach the teleportation lake of the Dark Sacred Realm. Afterward, they must travel from the teleportation lake of the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm to Yulan City. Even with rapid travel speed, the total time required is still over a day. The 92 elders in the star array continue intercepting the lurker teams. The other elders disperse your avatars as quickly as possible. If discovered by the lurker teams, have the avatars self-destruct immediately. We must delay their advance for as long as possible. Yuan Xiong Palace Master issued his orders one by one. Understood. All the elders responded in unison. Previously, Master Gai Dao could have dispersed multiple avatars to delay time. However, Master Gai Dao loathed the gamble because, in the face of terrifying entities like the king and others chasing him, even the slightest hesitation could result in the complete annihilation of all his avatars and treasures. But at this moment, the elders within the city either had no choice or rejected the idea of escape. Naturally, they did whatever they could to stall. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. With Master Gai Dao gone, the star array's power diminished by 1/3. However, at this moment, the entire star array only targeted 3 teams out of the 39 elite lurker squads. Once the array's power concentrated, these 3 elite teams began to suffer casualties. King, these elders are too cunning. Once they detect us, they immediately dissolve their avatars. And they have other avatars too? The array's power is overwhelming. Our team has already lost 3 core members' true bodies. King, our team has only 60% of its strength left. These elders are too sly. We succeeded. Elder Qiao Ji's avatar speed is far inferior to our spiritual forms. His fleeing avatars have all dissolved. There's now 1 less elder inside Yulan City. A stream of messages reached the king, of which only one was positive news. The king had anticipated this. The pressure from the low-level primordial life army outside wasn't enough. Their lurking operations became even more dangerous. Hold on. We've already reached Yuan Xiong Palace Master's cave mansion. The king, along with 30 leader-level true bodies, launched an attack here. Originally, there were 32 leader-level true bodies among the lurkers in Yulan City. 2 had already died during the interception missions. Boom! The king and his 30 leaders, each resembling fleeting phantoms, moved at lightning speed, charging towards Yuan Xiong Palace Master's cave mansion with a thunderous roar. Yuan Xiong Palace Master sat there, smiling as he regarded them. You've arrived. Yuan Xiong Palace Master smiled faintly, then simply dissolved. The king and the 30 leaders landed nearby. King, I can't sense any of Yuan Xiong Palace Master's avatars inside Yulan City anymore, one of the leaders said with confusion. Nor can I, the king murmured, slightly puzzled. He looked up at the array overhead, observing its operations. But Yuan Xiong Palace Master is one of the city builders. If he had died, we would have lost his control, and the city's array power should have drastically diminished. Yet, the array's power hasn't changed. He's still alive. Indeed, I am still within Yulan City. A voice echoed within the cave mansion. The king and the 30 leader-level true bodies carefully tuned their senses. I have been battling the corruption, pouring my heart force into resistance. I know I'm the greatest weak point of Yulan City. How could I not have prepared? Yuan Xiong Palace Master's voice rang out. With just your efforts, you will never find me. Damn it! The king and the 30 leaders were visibly irked. Earlier encounters with Wei Yan Palace Master and Master Gai Dao had gone smoothly, following their plans as those 2 either died or fled. Yet now, facing the most vulnerable Yuan Xiong Palace Master, they couldn't even locate him. Take a guess, where am I hiding? Yuan Xiong Palace Master's voices tauntingly persisted. Ignore him. He's just stalling for time. The king's gaze swept across the 30 leaders. Proceed with the next phase of the plan. I will act solo. You divide into 5 squads and begin assaulting the elders one by one. The more we kill, the weaker the array's power will grow. Understood. The king wasted no more time on Yuan Xiong Palace Master's voice. He quickly split off, initiating attacks on the elders' cave mansions one by one. Huff. Inside one of the cave mansions, Elder Chu Yuan couldn't react in time before being struck by the king. Using his innate secret technique, Enchanting Heart, to a level beyond comprehension, Elder Chu Yuan, with only a single precious secret treasure, a possession kept in the dark sacred realm, had no means of defense in his Yulan city body. He perished instantly. One elder's avatars across the 9 rivers sacred realm ceased to exist. Next, the king's icy gaze sharpened. Though Yuan Xiong Palace Master's realm was the highest in Yulan city, even for the king, attacking him was nearly impossible. But for the other elders, they fell before they even realized the king was there. When unable to resist, their avatars across the 9 rivers sacred realm were irrevocably destroyed. Sigh? In a modest cave mansion within Yulan city's outer city district, Yuan Xiong Palace Master concealed himself. He wielded a secret treasure, completely veiling all traces of light, aura, causality, and presence. Not even Luo Feng using the biomimetic destruction eye could locate Yuan Xiong Palace Master's cave mansion. Yuan Xiong Palace Master understood his weakness, but he was exceedingly wealthy. Long ago, he had purchased a secret treasure capable of perfectly hiding himself. In the dark sacred realm, there were only a handful who could penetrate such concealment. Though the elders can disperse avatars, these lurking enemies, being spiritual beings, are too fast. The elders are being picked off one by one. Forget lasting a day, even half a day might be difficult. Yuan Xiong Palace Master observed the situation, leveraging the array that encompassed the city to understand the dire circumstances. While the star array inflicted losses on the lurker teams here and there, primarily among their core lineage, the king and the leaders remained formidable adversaries. Eliminating them was a far greater challenge. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside the Dan Tower, Luo Feng was in seclusion, cultivating, with his most powerful avatar stationed outside the quiet room as a guardian. Brother Luo Feng. The Changqing building owner quickly arrived. Building owner. Luo Feng looked at him, puzzled. Brother Luo Feng, I'm one of Yulan City's elders and a target for these lurking enemies. An elite squad has already approached the Dan Tower. The Changqing building owner took out a bracelet and handed it to Luo Feng. This represents all the treasures within Dan Tower, valued at approximately 27 billion primordial crystals. Please help safeguard it, Brother Luo Feng. The treasures of Dan Tower? That's too valuable. I'm not confident I can protect them. Building owner, you should find another way, Luo Feng replied. At least you're not an elder, making you less likely to be targeted by the lurkers. Your strength surpasses mine, and your chances of survival are certainly higher. The Changqing building owner attempted to persuade Luo Feng. Even if these treasures cannot be protected, I will not hold it against you. But if they survive, I would be immeasurably grateful. Consider the 100 Tribulations heart essence from before as part of your payment for safekeeping. The 100 Tribulations heart essence's cost must still be settled afterward, Luo Feng said as he accepted the bracelet. I'll help you store the Dan Tower's treasures. I can only promise to do my best. Thank you, Brother Luo Feng. The Changqing building owner turned and looked to the outside. The elite lurker squad had already arrived at Dan Tower. Huff. The Changqing building owner shot into the sky, fleeing swiftly. Kill the Changqing building owner. This elite squad consisted of 8 leader-level avatars, 6 core lineage true bodies, and 59 core lineage avatars. A single core lineage true body alone could threaten the Changqing building owner. Together, such a team was terrifying. Roar! A massive, illusory snake suddenly let out a furious roar. The sound reverberated throughout the Dan Tower complex, striking the fleeing Changqing building owner and briefly disturbing his presence. The enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes of the low-level primordial life species were spiritual life forms capable of transitioning between illusion and reality. They bore some resemblance to the spiritual beings Luo Feng had confronted in infinite space, though clearly more terrifying. HMPH. accompanied by an abrupt cold snort. A mighty blood-colored tidal wave materialized out of nowhere, engulfing the vast surroundings of Dan Tower in an instant. It eradicated the elite lurker squad's true bodies and avatars alike. In a mere moment, all of them had perished, without exception. The fleeing Changqing building owner observed this scene in stunned disbelief. This can't be. The Changqing building owner was incredulous. This is. Watching intently from a concealed cave mansion in the outer city district, Yuan Xiong Palace Master, hidden from all traces or senses, witnessed the events at Dan Tower unfold. An entire elite lurker squad had been annihilated instantly with no chance to resist. Enchanting heartworms and soul-devouring snakes of late-stage Divine Emperor level, capable of shifting between reality and illusion, possess extraordinarily tenacious life forces. For someone to annihilate their bodies in one strike, fewer than 20 in the city could achieve it. To eliminate an entire squad in a single move, only Wei Yan Palace Master or Master Gai Dao could manage it. Yuan Xiong Palace Master's eyes lit up. Master Gai Dao had fled without a fight. Wei Yan Palace Master had stood strong against the king and 12 leader true bodies, resisting for several seconds. An elite lurker squad was, in terms of threat, roughly equivalent to a single leader's true body. At Palace Master levels of strength, one could effortlessly destroy such a team. Luo Feng, have you reached the realm of a half-primordial level enlightened one? Yuan Xiong Palace Master quickly sent a transmission. Amidst the death of one Palace Master and the escape of another, it seemed a new Palace Master had emerged within Yulan City. My current strength is roughly equivalent to Wei Yan Palace Master and Master Gai Dao, Luo Feng replied briefly. At this moment, nearly all his focus was devoted to comprehending the life and death Dao. At his level, he could divide his thoughts into billions. Especially after ingesting the 100 Tribulations heart essence, his comprehension had greatly increased, and his mental processing speed had skyrocketed 3,000-fold. The conversation with Yuan Xiong Palace Master, including his earlier move to annihilate an elite squad of lurkers, impacted his focus by less than 1,000th. Equivalent to Wei Yan Palace Master and Master Gai Dao. Yuan Xiong Palace Master was overjoyed. Such strength is not enough to change the situation. Luo Feng showed no excitement. Luo Feng. Yuan Xiong Palace Master spoke urgently. I've already requested reinforcements from the Dark Sacred Realm. A team of cultivators from the Dark Sacred Realm is on its way and will arrive in a little over a day. Our priority is to hold out until this team arrives. Under the assault of the low-level Primordial Life Army, Nine Rivers Sacred Realm had no internal capacity to provide support. Although Nine Rivers Sacred Realm contained 2 entities who had mastered the 2 half-primordial level paths, these individuals only dispatched avatars, while their most crucial secret treasure was stationed in the Dark Sacred Realm, leaving them unable to break into Yulan City. Luo Feng, I hope you'll accept the City Builder Authority, Yuan Xiong Palace Master transmitted. Ever since establishing Yulan City, I've never regarded myself as the City Lord. I understand my severe contamination issues, and I've been waiting for an appropriate successor. You are that ideal successor. Luo Feng was stunned. The City Builder Authority, handed over to him? My strength hasn't thoroughly surpassed that of Wei Yan Palace Master and Master Gai Dao yet, Luo Feng transmitted. After the war, Wei Yan Palace Master's avatar is likely to return to Yulan City. Don't worry about him, the most critical matter for Yulan City right now is holding its ground. Yuan Xiong Palace Master communicated urgently. You've only been in Nine Rivers Sacred Realm for just over 2,500 eras and have already reached the strength of a half-primordial level enlightened one. Your talent far exceeds mine. You taking charge of Yulan City would only be to Yulan City's benefit. Luo Feng, the situation is dire. There's no room for hesitation. Yuan Xiong Palace Master pleaded. Very well, I will accept the City Builder Authority, Luo Feng finally agreed without further hesitation. On one hand, he was confident in himself, believing his strength would quickly surpass Wei Yan Palace Master and the others, sweeping away all opposition. On the other hand, the stakes were indeed critical at present, affecting the lives of billions of cultivators in Yulan City. assuming the responsibilities of city builder would grant him access to various city benefits and allow him to exert greater power. Excellent. Yuan Xiong Palace Master transmitted, immediately dispatch an avatar to the outer city district. I'll provide the detailed address. Come here, and I will hand over the city building seal. It was only after receiving the exact location that Luo Feng realized where Yuan Xiong Palace Master had been hiding. Your appointment as the leader of Yulan City must remain confidential. No third party may learn of it, Yuan Xiong Palace Master warned. If word leaks out, the low-level primordial life lurkers will stop at nothing to hunt you down. Understood. Luo Feng acknowledged. Faced with the unrelenting attacks from King and the true body leaders, Luo Feng knew he wasn't yet confident enough to withstand such an assault. Luo Feng made a decision. His strongest avatar, stationed outside the quiet room as a guardian, waved his hand and retrieved a void netherworld pupilship within the quiet room. After ingesting the 100 Tribulations heart essence, this avatar entered the ship for cultivation. With a low-level primordial life army besieging the city, I cannot fully immerse myself in cultivating. Luo Feng had no choice but to divert some of his attention to managing numerous actions. At this moment, he had to participate in the city defense efforts. If he didn't, Yulan City's fall would come even faster, leaving less time for his breakthrough in the life and death Dao. Despite external chaos, the ingestion of the 100 Tribulations heart essence ensured his efficiency in Dao comprehension remained extraordinarily high, continually enhancing his mastery of the life and death Dao. The strongest avatar quietly departed, leaving only one ordinary avatar with energy reserves 100 times that of a perfect divine body stationed at the quiet room, fortified by the Dan Tower formation. Given Luo Feng's current realm, even an ordinary avatar boasted strength surpassing masters like the Deceit Workshop Lord. Combined with the Dan Tower formation, its power was formidable enough. King, we pursued Changqing building owner at Dan Tower. Unexpectedly, in Dan Tower, we encountered the terrifying Blood Sea formation, which annihilated our elite lurker squad entirely, a true body leader immediately transmitted. This elite squad included 8 leader-level avatars. After the avatars perished, their true bodies naturally perceived all events. The Blood Sea formation? Dan Tower? That's cultivator Luo Feng. King immediately identified. Before launching the war, they had infiltrated well in advance, acquiring detailed intelligence. Do we target Luo Feng and attempt to eliminate him? A leader transmitted, seeking instructions. No. King's gaze turned icy. At this critical juncture, every bit of our lurker squad's strength is indispensable. Cultivator Luo Feng is comparable to the Insect Nest Master and the Shadow Tower owner. This tier of cultivators possesses numerous avatars, making them incredibly challenging to kill. With the help of Dan Tower's formations, his strength may even rival the 3 Hall Masters. During the siege, our priority is eliminating weaker elders. Weak elders are easier to kill. With each elder's death, Yulan City's defensive system weakens incrementally. King ordered decisively, Luo Feng isn't an elder. Don't waste energy targeting him. Understood, the leader complied. Based on available intelligence, killing Luo Feng would demand more effort than eliminating 20 ordinary elders combined. Yulan City harbored over 300 elders, plus approximately 400 elder-level figures who hadn't officially assumed the elder title. These stronger individuals were not priorities for the lurkers to target. No wonder they call him Luo Feng Divine Emperor. Remarkable. In a single move, he annihilated an elite lurker squad. Elders overseeing Yulan City's defense system were keenly aware of citywide developments. Observing the confrontation at Dan Tower, where an elite lurker squad had been utterly wiped out, they felt elated and rejuvenated. Reason being, these lurkers were exceedingly difficult to kill. They were low-level primordial life forms specialized in mind-based capabilities with extraordinary agility. While capable of easily hunting elders, the elders found it incredibly challenging to counter them. To obliterate an elite lurker squad in one swoop, Luo Feng Divine Emperor's strength should be on par with Wei Yan Palace Master and Master Gai Dao. Luo Feng Divine Emperor, if strong enough, should immediately assume the mantle of Hall Master. Indeed, with sufficient power, he should be the new Hall Master. Having one more Hall Master would significantly ease our city's defense. But his power is likely insufficient. The extensive and intricate formations he deployed at Dan Tower enabled him to vanquish the elite lurker squad. Outside Dan Tower, it's doubtful he could wield such power. Another elder disagreed. Don't argue, everyone. Yuan Xiong Palace Master transmitted. At present, I'm being hunted by a lurker squad and can only remain hidden. I'm unable to reach Elder Hall, unlock its defenses, and preside over either the Elder or Hall Master trials. The elders understood. Indeed. Previously, even the most fearsome lurker squad, led by the super-limit level enchanting Heartworm, had invaded Yuan Xiong Palace Master's cave mansion, forcing him to hide. Without the City Builder Authority, Elder Hall couldn't be opened, nor could its Elder Trial or Hall Master Trial be initiated. Only by passing these trials could one earn the titles of Elder or Hall Master. Palace Master, you must be extremely cautious not to be discovered by the lurkers. If you're found, Yulan City's defensive system will weaken further, and total defeat will become inevitable. The elders couldn't bear another blow. Among the 3 Hall Masters, only Yuan Xiong Palace Master still held the line. Without him, Yulan City's defense would fall further. Inside Yulan City, the elders, while leveraging the city's defensive systems to fend off external assaults, also devised strategies to intercept and eliminate the lurker squads. The lurker squads, in turn, devised their strategies to hunt down individual elders. Both sides fought tooth and nail. Enclosed them. Teams comprising elder-level avatars collaborated, while those within the city possessing elder-level strength but without the elder title also joined. These individuals hadn't become elders primarily due to lacking avatars, their true bodies resided in the city, and they had more to lose. Elder-level teams, using Yulan City's defensive systems, could trace lurker squads' movements, enabling preemptive strikes and encirclement. Meanwhile, the lurker squads leveraged their extraordinary speed. Both sides possessed unique advantages. They are too slippery. Elder-level teams repeatedly attempted to encircle the lurker squads, but the lurker squad's superior speed allowed them to escape effortlessly. Only high-altitude attacks from Yulan City's formations could hit them, evasion was impossible, so they were forced to counter defensively. An elite lurker squad flying mid-air suddenly noticed surrounding trees and plants shaking while a terrifying toxic mist began spreading everywhere. Under the toxic fog's pervasive influence, the elite squad lost almost all its members in an instant, leaving the survivors heavily poisoned. Such terrifying poison. It's Elder Xingyi. The squad immediately identified the attacker. A massive tree suddenly stood up, its trunk bearing a face. Numerous surrounding trees and plants frantically attacked the lurker squad. You despicable lurkers, all of you deserve death. The tree's visage seethed with murderous intent. The tree was one of Elder Xingyi's puppets devoid of any vital life force, rendering it imperceptible to the lurkers. A powerful puppet coupled with a prearranged formation at the core area of the city's defenses laid in wait. Finally, they ensnared a passing lurker squad. Using the poison mist formation in conjunction with tree and plant attacks, the squad was annihilated within seconds, leaving none alive. Well done, Elder Xingyi. Another elite lurker squad has been wiped out. The elders expressed their excitement. Up until now, only Luo Feng and Elder Xingyi had eliminated entire elite lurker squads. These lurkers were incredibly devious, deliberately avoiding confrontation with top-tier elders and targeting weaker ones instead. HMPH. King sat inside a cave mansion. Another elder had perished, causing all corresponding avatars in Nine Rivers' sacred realm to vanish. Elder Xingyi? Top-tier elders are indeed troublesome. King's power certainly allowed him to go against top-tier elders. However, doing so proved inefficient. Exhaling sharply, King focused on hunting weaker elders. Targeting them meant the elders couldn't self-destruct their own avatars in time. Fueled by Yuan Xiong Palace Master's directions, Luo Feng's most potent avatar traveled swiftly while cautiously observing with the biomimetic destruction eye to avoid lurker squads and unnecessary conflict. Exhaling softly, Luo Feng entered a seemingly ordinary cave mansion. Yuan Xiong Palace Master, I've arrived. Luo Feng scrutinized the seemingly mundane cave mansion, finding no traces of life or unusual features. Suddenly, Yuan Xiong Palace Master's figure materialized from the void nearby. Luo Feng. Yuan Xiong Palace Master smiled faintly, nodding slightly. This episode is end here.